So right now it's going live, and it's not on my phone either right now. It takes a second, but what I've learned also, you'll notice when people do Zoom, they're like looking down and stuff. This is a process
Right.
because there's like a minute delay.
Right.
So yeah, right
I don't
now
see the
I
live option for my page.
because I haven't shared it there.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can grab it. So I see it on my page right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and share it to my group because I can see it already.
Okay.
I'm sharing it to. It just got shared to 3 groups right now.
Okay.
So
And you can share it to my page as well?
I don't think I'm part of that group. You should be able to go to my page, my home page on my personal page, and share it from there. If you go to my home page, it should go there.
Okay. And your homepage is your Facebook homepage?
Yeah, my Facebook homepage, yes. Yeah.
And there we go.
Do you see it there? It's live right now.
Yeah, I do. And I'll share it to my page.
So while Todd is putting that together right now, or rather people just kind of watching this without anything kind of going on, I'm a little bit late here because I had to settle my son in. And part of what we're going to be sharing here is about how to manage all this, be able to show up as I prefer to, while knowing that my son can come here and say, distract me or need something, whatever else. And it's kind of the new paradigm, at least in a moment. So I just wanted to share that. It's kind of comical because it kind of leads right into this talk. So Are you ready to run? You ready to go? Is it shared?
Yeah, let's do it. So Ray, for my audience that may not know you, I'd like to just do a brief introduction.
Okay.
Thank you for everyone attending. This is Dr. Ray Doktor, and Ray is a transformational life coach. He also has a doctorate in clinical psychology. And he's bringing 23 years of experience to this conversation about living life well, about managing uncertainty, fear. Ray is an expert in self-mastery. What we're going to experience today are ways that we can create a mindset that moves us from stuck to becoming the people that we need to be in this time and in the situations that each of us find ourselves in. So Ray, I am so excited about this call with you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So could you share with my audience what it is that you do a little bit also? And I apologize, absolutely. I don't have it here. I wasn't prepared. So we're doing this kind of last minute, a lot of these things.
It's absolutely fine. So I'm a men's empowered action coach. I help men take action to create the lives they want to be living. I have over 20 years of clinical hospital experience as a pharmacist, 15 years of deep men's work, personal growth, and self-development. And through that process, I decided that my passion and my joy lies in coaching men and helping men to become their best selves, as I do each and every day in my efforts with me. So thank you for this time together.
Well, you're welcome. And feel free to ask questions here in the feed. I will answer them, or Todd will. And also, Todd, I wouldn't pay so much to Facebook, including myself, because our mouths are going to mismatch the volume. So
right. Yeah, sure.
I look at the Zoom the window rather than Facebook because it's like there's like a minute delay. So let's go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think where I'd like to jump in is maybe just briefly give some context to our audience about how your life might be affected right now. We are in a huge disruption. And sometimes I think people can think that life coaches, psychologists, potentially we have formats and options, and we're not necessarily affected by what's going on around us. And you and I both know that's not true. So what's going on with you that might be different than it was 2 weeks ago?
So I have my son in the other room. That's one thing. And I didn't think that would be as big of an issue because before that, I also had a nanny help me out. So I just thought, okay, well, I will work, be on this call, and then
Right.
someone will be engaged with my son. So when I'm experiencing that, she left with her family, of course, and it's not a time to maybe say find another person to come here. And so I'm having to juggle it myself. So the learning experience or curve is also the awareness, like there have been a lot of women who would do this, say, such as raising kids and also working and whatever else. So I'm experiencing raising my son on my own to a whole other degree, because at least when I had my son, I've had him full time and he's 5 years old.
Right.
I was able to afford to pay someone to help me out, to engage with him and so forth. But in this moment, even my money is not creating that. So it's
Right.
because of the virus. It's put me on a level playing field when I'm having to do all of it. So of course, trying to manage his separation, say, from school and his friends, to even the thoughts of I need to give him assignments, when I I'm not the best at it, or I choose not to, or I rather use my energy to where I feel I can show up with my talents. So of course I paid a Montessori school because they're great, maybe more patient, have a different relationship with my son. So, we have a parental, child dynamic. It's good, but
Right.
still, so it's like all of this. So it's been thrown on me, and I'm juggling that while, just like everyone else, that people, I still am able to work, but definitely my workload has changed a lot because people are concerned about whether or not this is a priority or not. Like everybody could use some coaching to better their lives, and with simple things such as how do I better my relationship, how do I make more money, or whatever else. But in this now moment, all of us collectively are going, what is the future going to look like?
Yeah.
To where do I plant my seeds? To right now, toilet paper is more important. So a lot of what was being shared on Facebook and in the market there was much differently than
Right.
it is now. So, for example, if I see a meme or something say, "Would you like to find your soulmate right now?" And I kind of in my mind, without judgment, I'm thinking to myself, to that person, I'm like, "Wow." I said, "Are you reading the collective? Are
Right.
you reading where we're at right now?" So I'm doing last minute things like this. I'm creating last minute programs. I'm going to be doing a lot of free webinars to see how I can help and how that can work into my new way of serving people, and also to help support myself. So while I'm trying to create these really like new things, like maybe other parents or other people, I have
Right.
some other things to attend to, such as my child. So that's how this has affected me in the last 2 weeks. It's been a lot.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
it came in hot and heavy and fast, didn't it? And lots of changes, lots of things that people are having to deal with quickly and figure out. So hopefully, in our time together, you'll be able to share some really cool things to help us through that process. So maybe that's a good lead into what is the best way to find our balance with dealing with our realities, our context that we're in now, and also maintaining positivity and moving forward with our futures. Is that possible?
Absolutely. It's very important to be aware of what we consider reality. So, for example, I'll give you example. Just it's coming to mind because it was last year was the anniversary. So my mother passed away a year ago, and so I when I went through that process, I noticed that most people have difficulty talking about it. They don't understand it. There's a lot of uncertainty. So a lot of people didn't know how to hold a container or how to communicate with
Yeah.
me. But what's interesting, while I shared my upbeat experience about it, because I was very connected with her, and even when she passed 3 days later, I had a person channel her, and it was with this such accuracy. It was amazing. I felt good. Even when I
Right.
felt good, people were not able to interpret it as something positive, because their reality of death is something is over. That's a reality for someone. To
Right.
it's the unknown. Am I going to go to hell? Does that exist? To that I don't know how to get on my life without my mom or dad. To uh, that this must be really hard because that's what they saw their father go through when their mother passed away. So their connection to death is that something really bad happens and that you're just traumatized the rest of your life. I just made this up, 5 realities. So when we talk about realities, we have to be very clear that's within the construct of your consciousness, which
Okay.
is so important. So You have the experience of reality that you might call the economy. You might have the experience of the reality that you call like it's tough right now. But remember, you do have things happening, but how you feel about it is going to be a reality. Like
Yeah.
even this call, like this webinar, whatever we want to call it, one person can perceive this as this is really great information. One person might be triggered right away and saying, oh, they're going to sell us something, an upsell. Another
Wow.
person's just saying, you know, like, I know all this shit. But again, I'm here with my heart open, doing the best that I can, just like with Todd. You're going to experience your reality. So the big point of this is, what do you prefer? What state do you want to be in? Because regardless if the economy is moving or you're able to, you think, plant your seeds, how you feel is everything. And when people were also successful, they felt like shit and it wasn't enough. Even when we say we're thriving, most people were not. Most people were paying, living paycheck to paycheck. So the quality of life, in a way, if you think about it for a moment, hasn't really been diminished. It is just more, you're in your homes, really
Yeah.
facing it, looking at it and feeling it maybe on a greater degree because just more fear has been fed into your psyche. So
Yeah, that is great. You know, what you say about our feelings contributing or creating our reality is so true. And I'm wondering what you would tell someone who is struggling or trying or conscious of feelings that aren't working for them and they need to shift out. They need to shift into a different set of feelings. How do you do that?
okay, well, I'm going to do like a little process. Do you mind me uh, doing this with you, Todd?
Oh, absolutely. Sounds great.
Okay, so Todd, what I want you to do is just close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to put both your hands like with open palms on your lap.
Okay.
And I want you to imagine in your right hand that there is the reality that you call, you know, the coronavirus. Let's just say that within the coronavirus has everything, which includes, you know, maybe scarcity of toilet paper to the economy to, you know, getting sick and dying, whatever, everything. So imagine you have that, okay? Now that's the idea of it. You should, and just be aware, we're just looking at it with no attachments. We're just saying this is what I've known so far of this. Now just imagine in your left hand that is the state of feeling good, the state of thriving, the state of becoming so much better, the state of feeling good in your heart and knowing that you are complete and taken care of. Now, just be aware that as I connect you to that also experience in your left hand, the reason why the experience in the right hand feels so bad also is because within you is goodness. Within you is what you prefer. The only way that you can have a negative experience is that there is some reference point to something, say, better. For example, the reason why you know dog shit smells like dog shit and you maybe don't prefer it is because you've had the experience of smelling a rose. So in life, there's always contrast. So within your imagination, also, the reason why I'm having you hold your hands and someone else, other people could do this also, is that it gives you the opportunity to where you realize that I'm feeling this because something else exists also. I'm feeling this because there's something else I prefer. And so in that preference point, it's, well, if I know this reality, which you're holding on to in your right hand, and also know this other reality in my left hand, what would make me be attached to feel negative when I know more what I prefer?
Yeah.
What would be pushing me to move my sense of self when I know more what I prefer? And this is where you start moving to self-mastery. This little exercise itself allows you to realize that in this now moment, by just doing this with me, you have a connection to at least two realities. One thing that you're afraid of and one thing that you prefer. And the one thing you prefer is already within you. It's already within your physical apparatus, your emotions, your physicality, and everything else. It is there. So it's just more, how do I amplify that? How do I enhance that? How do I talk about those types of positive thoughts and feelings. And the first thing that person might say is, well, isn't that just sweeping something under the rug? Isn't that just, say, maybe spiritual bypassing? Or, but we still have this. I would say this. Well, have you ever had a text message and you read it as something negative, and then you take pause and you read it as something positive? Or you get a text message and you think someone's angry at you. You ask out of curiosity, what did you mean? Or you actually get reactionary and send a text and you get a whole different meaning of the text.
Right.
Who created that?
Right.
Because it is just words. That's within you.
Right.
So regardless if you think this is a spiritual bypass or not, or sweeping something under the rug, you're creating your realities right now within your physical body.
Right. Right. I think that's great. And
yeah.
What I heard in that too is it's about awareness. I can be aware of the coronavirus in this hand and potential problems or bad emotions that brings with it. I can also be aware to things that are really good, which is the contrasting thing. That's why I know this, just like you said. I need to remember this, be aware of this, and then it becomes a choice, right? It's where am I gonna land? Where am I gonna embrace? They're both real. They're both real.
What's interesting about this, it could not be any more apropos, was that in this moment, while I was talking, people see that I went over here, and I don't know if you saw a little head bop up. That was my son. He came out, in which I said not to, because I'm doing this call, but I'm also not going to force him in his space. I was feeling anxiety in my solar plexus in this moment, guiding you, Todd. And so that's not something to push down. That is where, why would I experience that? So within my own unconscious mind, my own definitions, it's more like, I'm used to doing business without a child here, so I want to appear professional. So where's that self-judgment coming from? So, whoa, before I did this call, before the coronavirus, I maybe have been subscribing to some paradigm that it has to be a perfect, situation without a child, when now it's a conversation starter. So this is an example of kind of going with the flow, and also being aware that this is my imagination feeling that this is my son cooperating against me, versus that he's just doing his own thing. He didn't interrupt me, and I have to get better in my skill set as far as being present here, breathing into my body, and being able to accept this human being that I love, who's called my son, or Max, in this experience. And so this is an example. And so many people right now are losing their shit, not because of what's happening out there, but what's happening within here.
Yeah. That brings a very important point about imagination and how we live in our imagination. So what do you say to the guy, to the man or the woman that is on the what if train? I mean, what if this, what if that, what if this, and it's going, bah, 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 bah. How do you stop it?
Okay. Well, I did respond already. That's everything is within your imagination. But if you want to use the what if game, it's actually a Abraham Hicks exercise, and that is, but they have a different spin on it. They're what would it be like to feel happy? What would it be like to be creative? What would it be like to be imaginative? What would it be like to have a different perspective? In other words, here's the deal. In this now moment, you are creating everything. In this now moment, even if you think you feel a particular way because of a past experience, that's not true. That's not truly how memory works. In this now moment, as you allow your consciousness to drift into a past experience, you're having a visceral experience as if it happened in the past, but it's happening now. Get it? So everything's happening now by what's happening in your imagination. Just like with that, if you were to be able to say, what if I were able to feel good? What if I were able to feel happy and exciting and so forth? That's going to put you more in a now moment to that which you can create now and that which you can see. In other words, most people right now are going with what they know. You only could go so far in a head mind. In other words, like for example, when this thing crashed. I'm gonna be totally transparent, okay? I saw this and I went, okay, I need to do stuff virtually. And like a lot of people who coach, who create funnels and whatever, you kind of see I see the problem, how to create a solution. And oftentimes they'll do surveys or to where they'll try to create, say, an online program or whatever. But what happened with me, what happened was it went to my head and I felt like I was forcing it. And I went back to my heart and I realized, I went, you know what? I really don't know where people are at. I have an idea, but I'm not them. I need to hear them share openly what's happening. And the point is that I was trying to use an old model, an old way of doing things when everything has changed about our economy forever.
Yeah.
We're not recovering to the way that we thought it once was. So this idea that things will be flown again, well, here's the deal. Here's a wake up. Never was.
Yeah.
If people are living a paycheck to paycheck, if people can't get like medical care, something's off. If people are unhappy, if there's an increase of suicides, there's something off. So even when you start saying you're fearful of this thing, you might be subscribing to like just basically walking off the Grand Canyon, like the cliff, because it's like you're just basically rearranging the furniture on a Titanic.
Yeah. So, the paycheck to paycheck scenario is real. It's affecting many, many people.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say to the person whose business, or they worked at a business, the doors are closed because, no extra going out. We're on restriction, no unnecessary services. So this guy's sitting at home and he doesn't have a paycheck. And it is unknown as to exactly when the business will open back up and when he'll start working again. What do you say to him that could really benefit him to spend the time doing right now?
I'm going to go a little deeper and I hope everyone follows, and that's not talking down to anyone, but this will make sense because as you already know that being political is very heated, and you notice that people have become very divided and people are so stuck with the linear words that a person's saying, or they're just thinking that this person is defensive. Yes, the person is defensive. What are they defending against? Me, they don't know me. Sorry, I'm burping. My words I'm actually trying to help. Some people have positive intentions, and yet the person they're talking to is arguing for their limitations. I am like probably, I said 99% positive. Even this is positive for me because I'm trying to uplift people. But if you're perceiving this as if you feel bad, it feels negative in your body, you think it's because of me. But your imagination is perceiving me that way and that perspective that shuts down your heart and so forth. The reason why I just front loaded it with this is because a man who is shut down and this is all that he knows, I'm unsure where he's at to receive what I have to say. So I want to put that out there. So if there's resistance to this, I'm aware of that. Like I have been in that space where actually I am so stressed. And my friend Amy says, Ray, it sounds like you need a massage. I will treat you Saturday. And say it's like Thursday. I just got done driving 4 or 5 hours to drop my son off to see his mom. And I'm in a space and I've been like, I'm with him full time. So I just get every 2 weeks, I get a break. And she says, when would be a good time? And I'm like, right now, get a massage, being treated and supported is not, I wasn't even receiving the gift because I was closed down. So this is why it's so important to also give you, if you're, watching this, hearing this, the gift to understand that for yourself when you're not receptive, or your neighbor who's defensive. Okay. So I know I went like a long tangent. The person who's going through this process would be, number one is, first off, this might be an opportunity to start asking for help. When it comes to a lot of people, even women these days, they have difficulty asking. A big part of this is that we're going to be moving into more communities to where we help out. So there might be someone who can help you out. When we move past this and we're no longer maybe potentially contagious, you might
Yeah.
have other people have kids and it's not paying for daycare. It's 5 other dads or whatever who say, I can't do this on my own.
Yeah.
But again, when you soften yourself, you get creative because you go into your higher mind, your heart, and then new ideas come up. You start connecting to other potentialities. It's also that you're not the only person in the situation. So in a way that how you're in a same level playing field, like me, where my money can't get me the help I need right now because of the coronavirus, that right now things have slowed down. And with that, because the economy has changed and people can't be evicted, at least here in California for like 6 months, that I don't know what it's like in other states or other cities, but there's a lot of people like you right now. Keep in mind, you're not alone. The more we stay in our hearts and talk openly what we want, we can create together. So you coming out of this, you might be better off than you were. And then the last one is this. Maybe it's time to go in and take pause and do the business that you've been wanting to do the self-work you've been looking to do, I mean, the list goes on. It's like where this might be, even me, I'm realizing, why the fuck am I going totally into hunter mode right now when I have created a way of being to where I can still take care of myself and my son. Of course, I have savings, but I'm also like, I'm hustling a little bit. I realized, like yesterday, I just played with my son a lot more. I went, you know what? Why did it take the coronavirus for me to do this today on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
So
I think that recognition of the pause that may be available for all of us right now. You mentioned things slowing down.
yes.
We slow down, we take the pause, we look around. That could be potentially a huge opportunity for many of us.
We have a question I want to answer, and the question is thank you. I know this person, his name is JT.
Okay.
Thank you, brother. So it's question is like, how do you handle being isolated? So think about this for a moment. We're actually not isolated. We are all connected right now. Like, it might be virtually. So isolation, what does that mean to you? Meaning that I can touch you, I can feel you, I can spit on you because I'm talking so passionately? Because here's what's interesting. People maintain long distance relationships. Yes, there's this idea that it's hard. You know why it's hard? Because that person's in New York, and other person's in California, and that because they have insecurities of the other person, say, cheating, or maybe they don't have enough transparency in the communication, whatever, it maybe is difficult and whatever it is. But then there's people who are able to check in and physically see each other once in a while. But somehow in their bodies, they feel really good. They feel really connected. So I know that you might not be able to fly out or go down a street to meet someone, to meet your family or whatever else. But let's be honest, how many people actually see their parents? Like often. So even that, oh my God, I can't visit my family here and there. How often do you do that? Once or twice a year? So can you be connected to them in your heart and just use this virtual arena as a way to really even create so much more transparency, more authenticity? We're not isolated. It's all within the psyche. So it's not just in what I just share and the linear response. It's also within your own psyche, because how many people, come on, how many people have been next to your boyfriend or your wife and you feel fucking alone, and they're right next to you, or they're in a room text messaging checked out. So isolation is an idea, and you need to discover for yourself, why do I feel disconnected? How can I open up? Have I ever learned how to open up? Oh my God, the coronavirus is making me go in and realize that this issue has always been there, and I've gone out, hooked up as a distraction. Oh, now I can do my inner work.
Our ability to connect is interesting in this time. And what you've said, it really comes down to our own willingness, our own internal messaging and beliefs about connection and what we do. Fortunately, and this is a great thing, with the virtual space, with the technology we have, if we allow ourselves to be authentic, to be real, to go to that heart space, you're right. We are not isolated. We can connect and wonderful things can happen. Thanks for that. That's really cool.
Oh, you're welcome.
Maybe we need to talk about the kids. You know, this is affecting our children to some extent. They're not able to connect with their friends necessarily, go hang out, run, play, whatever they do. Maybe particular family members or people in their lives they were dependent on, they're not seeing anymore. So how do we, as parents, as adults, help our children through this?
I have several responses, but the first one is that very much like in the movie, Life is Beautiful, my child is experiencing connection with me. And we have a pretty deep relationship. So he has always wanted to be here when I work. And I've kind of pushed him away because I want to be perfect. So he's experienced me. He's hearing me talk. He's learning from me. He's getting learning that I'm unaware of. And also what's happened in the space is that I realize how much he can be part of what I'm experiencing. So it's a fun experience. And not just that, is because I've done a lot of inner work that I'm not experiencing this the same way like a lot of other parents and people are doing. Okay. So keep in mind, so much in this, if you're just catching it now, please watch the whole thing. Remember, there's the idea that's put out there. And, you know, I'll give you an example. I just put a post, and this is like not against Trump, because if Biden were to say this too, I'd say the same thing, or even Sanders, I would say the same thing, is that he talked about how if Trump wrote something about, or said something that it said about like if the Americans don't start working immediately, there's going to be an increase of suicides. He's actually right about that, but that started happening 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. You know, it still happened. It continues to happen. We just hear about it when a celebrity takes his or her own life. Okay, but the thing is, the idea is that's being attached to this is that because of money, I feel bad. Because of the economy, I feel bad. Because of the circumstances, I feel bad. Because I lost all my money in the stock market, I feel bad. Therefore, things are really tough. I mentioned earlier in this also, my mother passed away. Yes, I cried. Yes, for 2 months, it was like on and off, but it became a very enriching experience. Right now, this is I'm going through this also. This is kind of like a unique situation. I never had a mother die before, but I'm moving through this with flow and grace. So there's the idea that it could be really bad for them, or it's that you're creating it within yourself. Therefore, they're feeding off of you. They're feeding off of your energy. So this is a great time to do inner work as a parent. So there's one aspect there. And then a second one was that you said, what do we do? Because there's realness, because my son isn't seeing his friends, you know?
Right.
We have created Zoom chats. He loves it. So what's happening is that he has a Zoom chat at 10 a.m. with his classmates. And I've had him do a couple like FaceTimes with his friends. As a child, what I noticed, they're better than adults. They're not saying, I can't physically see you, something's missing, because children usually come complete anyway. It's just as they immerse in our culture that has a lot of limited beliefs, they start separating their true power, okay? So by the way, the big part of my parenting style is helping him remember who he is. So Max yesterday was the cutest thing. He actually was talking to his friend, Miles, and he had my phone, and he was FaceTiming, and then they started showing where their shoes were, because they'd never been at each other's houses. They started brushing their teeth together. It was so adorable and cute. I'm like, they're having an experience together. It wasn't like, but I can't see him. You know, it was so, if children can do it, we can do it. And if children can do it, and just what I just shared, create that space for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. Um, as we are, mm, as our routines have changed, as we're in this new environment, you're not going to work, many people aren't going to work. What do you have to say about health and well-being, and maybe how routines play in that, or speak to health and well-being living in our house, or
Well, I'm still trying to figure it out myself, but I lost about 5 pounds, not purposely. I know that could be considered a high quality problem, but I haven't been working out with the weights as much because I love the
uh,
gym and the movement. I would go to sauna, at least 3 to 4 times a week. So it's the same thing. It's like, you have access to Todd and I, that I did a fun kid yoga video yesterday with my son, which actually sparked an idea. I went, oh my God, I have a lot of female yogini friends who could be doing this right now to create maybe an income or whatever. But
yeah,
there's so much stuff that we have access to, if you have Wi-Fi. So it's doing stuff virtually, so for me, I'm still doing my meditations. I eat good, very important. I know some people are just eating like shit right now because
mhm,
you feel bad, and what ends up happening when you eat bad food, it just makes you eat more. I eat things, I hear things, I watch things, I experience things that come from more of a higher frequency, like meaning stay off Facebook, don't get in arguments with strangers. It's being able to go in to create, because in this moment, what's different than what it was before, even if there was a jackass on, say, Facebook, just trolling you or whatever, or saying things that were not like factual or whatever, it's that at least you can go to work, at least like you can maybe possibly get off your mind and go to the gym, or I don't know,
right,
all your routines to distract you are gone. So in that, your intake as far as bullshit should be lessened, less, like, so the intake should be more positive. And even if you're not, like, say, working out right now, what we want to do is we want to calm your nervous system. We want to basically be able to put you in the parasympathetic mode so you can be open and receptive. And in gamma, which is a higher frequency rather than beta, and
mhm,
which is 40 hertz to 100, to where you're able to go in that creative space. When we are doing what we love, that's where we are. So
yeah,
that's where you want to be, whether you're at work, at home, or if you have children or not. And it's just being creative within a within your home.
right.
You know,
So go ahead.
I was going to say, Viktor Frankl wrote a book in a concentration camp, and then it became, he was a existential psychologist, and what he shared in that was that he became awakened when he was being tortured by the Germans, and that he really, you've heard stories like this before, where he realized that while they were trying to saw him as a Jew, and they're trying to hurt his physical body, who he was beyond this. Then
Yeah,
he started practicing more of this faith, and he started sharing this with other people
mhm,
and other prisoners, and they were living. What's interesting about this is that, but the moment that these people heard that their wife or child had died, these people would die often like within 24 hours.
wow,
So it was their belief, their hope, that was keeping them alive, which is, again, back to the imagination, your consciousness.
yeah,
So within your home right now, you could be thriving because of how you feel within your home, which there's no, you know, bars and a gun, at least at the moment, making you stay in. We do
yeah,
have a lot of flexibility still, and we all
yeah,
can do this together.
yeah. So eating well, feeding our mind with positivity, with productive and useful things for us. You said something about entering the parasympathetic system, or allowing your body to live in that space. Are there a couple tips or activities or things that a person could do to help move out of anxiousness or anxiety and get into that parasympathetic calmness?
Well, one of them was what I shared with you in the beginning of this call. So if you just caught this, please go back to this and watch it again. And what I did is I had Todd go into the space of where he had his hands out, But to another one that is very easy to do and it works is because remember, you're constricted. And what's interesting about humans is that when we hurt ourselves, whether it's physically or emotionally, we either judge ourselves, we look at the pain, we jump up and down, we don't do anything about it. My son actually dropped the book on his foot today. And what I'm teaching him, some of my Jedi skills, is to breathe, bring air into his foot, but also move around, get the energy moving. So remember, you're feeling anxious because you're contracted.
Yeah.
Bottom line. So for example, this, if you want to do this with me, Todd, go ahead.
Yeah.
Put your hand like this. Go like this. Like this. Now try to have negative thoughts. Well, you just laugh. You can't. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
it's a little wild.
yeah. So the positioning of your body, we within human beings, we have our own pharmaceuticals to aid our body.
Yeah.
To get out of it, I'm going to show one thing, but what I don't want to do is take up this time to like give yoga techniques or whatever else.
Right.
On YouTube, watch meditation techniques. If you can't meditate, so what? Then dance, move, get energy. But when you're doing it, no matter what, what's most important, that you move into your heart. So this exercise is that you put your hands over your heart. And then you try to do this to 1 to 2 minutes. If you get dizzy, sit down, or just do it when you're sitting down. And it's, and I'm moving my belly. And I usually do it with my eyes closed. And I usually listen to very relaxing music or music that makes you feel good. So if you like Boston more than a feeling, you want to do this, so be it. That's your permission slip.
Yeah.
And as you do that, imagine this, if you want to call it your third eye, connected to your heart, okay? And what this is doing is that it's helping clear your mind also. And what will naturally happen is that you'll go into parasympathetic mode, and with a heart awareness to your mind also, your heart will send a signal literally to your brain to calm down. They're now seeing this happen. Wow. Remember, the heart develops first, and then the brain follows.
Yeah, very good. That is a great tip right there. I'm in lockdown. I'm in Medellin, Colombia, and they locked us down last Friday, and we're locked down till April 13th. We can leave the house twice a week to get groceries. So that type of an activity is really important for myself, particularly to help settle me down and to focus. So thank you for that.
So throw in there. So I have a very rambunctious son where we both like movement and we're contained. And we're able to still go out for exercise. So we're going to secluded places where there's no one there to get some energy going, to like a park or whatever. I know some people don't have that. Maybe this situation is different. But remember that it's all about movement. It really is. There's the idea of lockdown, but when you go to a yoga class or any class where there's movement, you move within a 4 feet space anyway.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
There you go. Lockdown is an illusion. It's an idea.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So what do you want to do with it to free your mind?
That is so true. Yeah. As we're kind of getting to the end here and wrapping this up, I'm just curious what you see as opportunities that this time period could present us individually, collectively, and how can, you're an expert on self-mastery, right? So how does that
answer? You get a black cup that blocks the negative frequencies. No, I can't.
The tinfoil hat. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm just curious how you see we could choose to define this time in a process of self-mastery, in a process of raising the collective. What do you think about that?
Cool. All right. I'm going to do this with my eyes closed. So number one of the things that have been shown up on the planet all of a suddenly is a lot of autoimmune diseases. So that's basically the body fighting with itself. In addition to that, you've noticed the political arena becoming so divided, people are also fighting and so forth. So it's the first time I've ever seen this in my lifetime to this degree. So on a cellular level, you're seeing it collectively also on our planet. Okay, I'm bringing this up because regardless if you're a spiritual or positive person, you're part of the collective consciousness. You're seeing things, you're exposing things, you're caught up in this. So within this dynamic right now, this one really important thing is to be able to take pause, to ask yourself a couple simple questions and watch this video again. It would be this: is there a space or a way of thinking or feeling about myself that I'm fighting myself or it's negative? Number one. Number two, if I were not fighting myself or judging myself, how would I be? Number three, amplify that being, that state of mind, and that evolution. Because what will happen is that you'll start opening yourself up to more of the positive state that you prefer. You might argue with strangers less. This itself, for a lot of people to do this, we would stop going like this and be able to step back. No differently when we actually shut down everything, the waters got clear, the dolphins are swimming in the canals in Venice, the air has gotten clearer. So just like what's happening naturally with nature and which we see outside of ourselves, this is a time to clear our own nature, our own body, and get connected to that collective vibration. Number one.
Yeah, that's
Okay?
huge.
Okay.
That's huge.
Number two, as far as you might ask, okay, dude, this is airy fairy unicorn stuff. I have practical matters to attend to, such as providing and protecting, blah, blah, blah. I have a child. I understand. My overhead is very high, okay? So here's the deal. You don't know, I don't know, and the fucking president doesn't know, and nor does anyone else, okay? This is not knocking Trump. So I'm just saying that we don't know, okay? So another thing, because you can try to do things to plant seeds 4, 5, 6, 7 months from now, but you don't know where people are going to be. You don't know. So it's going back to how comfortable am I with uncertainty? How uncomfortable am I with, not feeling in control? A lot of people are feeling very much out of control of their lives right now. So if you can go in and ask yourself, how can I become more comfortable with uncertainty and learn how to trust more? What would that feel like? What would that be like? Because the main reason why people kill their businesses anyway, even if we're going to say supposedly a thriving economy, or why they kill, the new person they're dating with after 3 months, is because of self-sabotaging beliefs and ideas, such as they go into scarcity, the woman doesn't respond or man doesn't respond, they go back and control, they try to reel the person in to get validation outside themselves because they fear losing control of themselves in a relationship, in the economy, in themselves. This is a beautiful time for all people to look at their relationship with uncertainty and then move it into space of how can I develop and create more trust within myself. Because when you have done things with all knowingness, without any training, with utter passion and trust, it came to fruition. Even if it wasn't money, you liked the experience. And that's going to be the new economy. Because what's been happening right now has been bullshit. No one has ever really been that happy. If people want to be honest.
Well, and I think that's the crack or the exposure that we are seeing right now.
Those two things, those are too powerful. Now, there might be more linear things, but the reason why I'm not, those things to be connected to a broken system in which I don't know and I've never agreed with.
Yeah.
I've only have come to where I'm at in my business because when I was working in an aerospace company, it was my last corporate job. I was 23 years old, that I saw people checked out, looking way older than their age, and just felt this is not for me. And I left, and I continued. I've been an entrepreneur for, I'm 50 now, for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so the thing is that I created that space, but where I see it as where I'm also part of the problem is that my rent is really high. Where I live is very expensive. And my way of living is very expensive. So what does that mean? I have to, my rates go higher. What does that mean? I can't serve all people. It's not because I don't want to. It's just I am only able to put so many hours in the week and to provide. Okay, so keep in mind we don't want to keep basically planting seeds, and this is an opportunity for us to all expand. Because the question to ask yourself for all of this is this: what if I just woke up, I had no money, I had friends call me anyway, women and men were attracted to me, I could get a free car right over here, I was able to be taken care of. When I needed supplements, I got it over here, you know, and when it literally took money to pay for something, we all came together. Like, I'm just saying that there's a way that we can live, that we can create. And this is not like even I'm afraid people will say I'm speaking like a socialist. I'm not. I'm actually saying, I'm actually going to the state in which you want to create.
Yeah.
And when you get true of that within your heart, you realize that, oh my God, I'm fearing something that was bullshit in the first place.
Right.
But yes, the coronavirus is unknown. And yes, it's killing people. But still, that itself was never the problem. It brought light to show how fragile our system was.
Yeah.
It basically collapsed me also, because I made good money. I worked for myself. But with the coronavirus, it doesn't allow me to pay for someone who is going to say, oh, I will risk getting the coronavirus from your son and you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like it's squelched meat also.
Yeah. It's a new playing field for sure.
Yes.
So I think what I've heard you say is this is an opportunity for us to really go within, to really examine our own resistance, to examine our own limiting beliefs, to take an opportunity to create a new paradigm of how we want to live. And that's actually pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah.
We are getting to the top of the hour here. So
I want to say thank you, Wayne, for being here, and Mikkel, and thank you for your comment, Sarah and Jill, and we are all in this together. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely in this together. That's for sure. Dr. Ray, where can people reach you that may not be in your feed, they may be in mine? How would they get a hold of you if they want some help looking at this inner work?
What I'm going to do here is I'm going to provide a link to a free book, because in that I've been sharing all kinds of information. And in that book, it obviously takes you to my website. It's called Happiness Decoded. And in that book, it actually has like little exercises, little processes so that you can do them in the comfort of your own home of, say, isolation. So I will just put that in the feed here and people can go there.
Fantastic. All right. That is really great.
And how can people find you?
I am at empoweredmencoaching.com. Also on Facebook, Empowered Men Coaching, easily accessible. And I'd be happy to talk with anyone about what they're feeling or ways they need to work through their own resistance in this time. So thank you.
Well, thank you for joining me. Or wait a minute, we joined together. It's so funny.
Yeah, it was a collaboration for sure.
Yeah, it's I didn't know how this was to go, but it was actually really great working with you, Todd. This is our first time really having a conversation, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have found a way to connect in the virtual world in light of isolation and in light of coronavirus. So,
yes. So thank you, everybody. And please share this with others who you feel can benefit. I think a lot could. And feel free to also leave some comments in the feed if you would like Todd and I to talk about something else or some other ideas you have as far as to better support you.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate this conversation, Dr. Ray. I know the audience has benefited greatly from what you've shared here. I love your specific techniques for us to use and move forward in this time of uncertainty.
All right. Thank you very much, buddy.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.